Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to RetroIsland.com. The only site for everything retro. The Retro Island Network for everything retro. RetroIsland.com.
Hello, how's it going? Yes, it is I, Travis Goss, who...
Betrayal! Betrayal! Betrayed me!
Hello, everyone. And welcome
What
to
the
another
hell was
episode
that?
of I Got Gameplay.
Betrayal! Betrayal! Betrayed me!
Not on my show, Travis. Not on my show.
I was going to say, the opening tunes ended, and all of a sudden I was like, there's nobody there. Should I say something?
I accidentally muted my mic. That's what it's kind of like a situation where someone just farts in the room and you don't know who did it, and you're kind of sitting there in that awkward moment, like taking it all in, you know. And
Taking it all in.
yeah, and you kind of sit there and think, now that awkward moment's over. So...
All right.
But yeah, welcome to this lovely episode where we will be betraying you tonight, of course, because we're talking everything Microsoft.
Betrayal! Betrayal! Betrayed me!
Yes, ladies.
And we're not talking about penises either.
If it isn't micro, it isn't soft. And tonight we have with us, of course, including our crazy bunch of people, we have Mr. Excess Gaming Podcast himself, the man who is known to have one of the sexiest voices in radio, in internet, in anything. The sound of his voice makes women's panties drop on the floor. He is Mr. Xander. I have a voice that makes you orgasm, Scullion.
Xander isn't here tonight. Tonight is Solid Snake. What's up, everyone?
Snake! Snake! Yeah, so, Xander, what have you been up to?
I've been freaking working my ass off, working hard for the money.
He's worked
That's what I've
hard
been
for
doing.
the money. Well,
I have no one to treat right other than myself, though, which isn't a bad thing.
All I need to know is, how does it work hard for the money? Do you just go in and start whispering at people going, hey, my name's Xander Scullion, and I just want to let you know how sexy you are. Ah! And then, like, money just comes raining. It just makes it
Pretty much. Been pulling about 50 hours worth of that. I mean,
the sex
that's probably why I sound a little under the weather right now. That and the freaking flower semen that's everywhere, the pollen.
I've never heard it called flower semen before, but
That's pretty much what it is.
I have to agree with you on that one, Xander. It is kind of...
It's like all the flowers were just standing there and just like, oh, sandwich.
oh my, oh, you bees. Oh, you nasty bees. So we're literally going through that today. We're talking with Xander here, who's basically sniffing up pollinges. As we also, speaking of pollinges, go to another man who is basically the only man in radio who just he's kind of like a resident Howard Stern in a sense. His mouth is so dirty that your mum would have to wash it out with soap. He is Mr. Travis on radio, Goss.
How's it going? And yes, I have the filthiest mouth this side of Retro on Limb, and it's all because I keep sucking off Burhan's cock.
Oh, wow. It comes
comes
out, folks.
That elevated quickly.
Wow. That escalated quickly.
Oh, escalated. Yeah, I'm dumb. That escalated quickly.
That's one of those things that, probably Kyler's sitting there at work going, something dirty just happened. Burhan's cock. I can hear it.
Well, we are going to be talking about Microsoft, so it is going to get all kinds of kinky up in this bitch.
Yes. And if you want to join the conversation, of course, you can do on 718-664-9265. That's 718-664-9265. If you want to, vent your frustrations on Microsoft like most people want to do, I believe this next person will do. He is the host of Getting Your Nerd On, one of the hosts, of course, as well. He is our resident dumpster diver and the man who has no shame, and also has the world's longest cock, so be careful about this. Will make your daughters in Prague pregnant just by the mere sight of this thing. It is Mr. Zach Luthor.
What's up?
Nothing much.
Yo, Microsoft has betrayed me.
Betrayed you, did you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
They've betrayed you?
They have betrayed me.
They have?
Betrayal! Betrayal! Betrayed me!
Yep, that's what they've done.
Speaking of betrayal, we actually have to talk a bit of a big news here, and it's news I've been telling people about quite recently. For those of you who've listened to our other shows, including quite recently our RU13 as part of the Retro on Them show as well. So we've had these sort of live video casts. And Disney have bought out Maker Studios. For those people who don't know, they actually own Blip TV, which is a host of many shows, including the Spoonie Experiment, That Guy with the Glasses, The Angry Video Game Nerd as well actually has his content on there, and loads of other Guy with the Glasses famed sort of shows, because they give a very nice percentage of revenue as well. JD Motion's kind of doing the same thing now, but they give 70% revenue to Makers in comparison to YouTube's 30%. Go on, Travis.
I didn't say anything.
Someone said something.
No, I think I just plugged back in my mic. My mic went unplugged.
What did I tell you about having sex with your computer while we're live on air, Xander?
I'm sorry, man. We're talking about PCs here.
I know. He's booting that fucking hard drive up, isn't he? Now, what do you guys think of this? Because this is a big, big deal. They've bought out a YouTube kind of gaming network that's actually purchased a rival to YouTube and Blip TV itself, which became very sort of exclusive in a sense. They kicked away all the vloggers and stuff like that and kept people mainly from that Guy with the Glasses type universe. So what does that mean to you guys? Is that a big thing? Do you think we may see the end of guys like Doug Walker and Spoonie, or are we going to see these guys flourish and become big name properties under the Disney umbrella?
Well, the way I look at it is, I don't think it's going to get that far. I don't think that's going to happen. I think what we're going to see here is they're still going to be with Blip TV and everything, still producing their content. I think the only thing that really Disney is doing, I think that first of all they bought what? It was $500 million they spent to purchase Maker Studios.
Yeah, so that's a lot of money in a sense as well.
Yeah. But I think that we have to also take a look at some of the things that they have done here recently with these other purchases. Marvel, they've bought Marvel, and they've just basically said, hey, you guys know what you're doing, just keep it up. We're right here.
Studios is hardly Marvel, though. It's a territory that I don't think any person in Hollywood knows. It's, the internet, in a sense, is kind of the bane of Hollywood at the moment, because it's creating content that's a sort of an alternative to television, and it's an alternative to films. And as well, these guys, have had their legal battles with studios like Disney over copyrighted content.
Well, that's just maybe, but what the point I was trying to make is, and of course they bought Lucasfilm, and they bought the rights to Star Wars and all that stuff. I think it's like I said, that they purchased these things not to try to do anything to shut anybody down, but just to, as like a financial backer, and just let them do their own thing like they have been doing, and all that. So I wouldn't be as quick to rush to, I wouldn't quickly rush into a judgment saying that they're going to do any getting rid of any personalities or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, if something like that did happen, Doug Walker and everybody else, I'm sure they have other connections they could hook up with another web video producing company. You know, they're going to be fine no matter what they do. So, but right now it's just too early to say.
What about you, Zach? What do you think?
Well, I think it's weird, honestly. I mean, I would think that whatever this is kind of small potatoes compared to as far as what Disney is going for. I mean, they just bought, you know, LucasArts or Lucasfilm or everything George Lucas, but I guess they're just trying to expand. I don't know. I don't watch many of the videos. Like, I watch AVGN, but I just watch it on the site. I've almost probably never been to this site or whatever that they bought, but I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just, I guess, trying to expand. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of sort of Oculus Rift Facebook type of deal here. You don't understand why they've purchased it, and I don't think they understand what they are purchasing to begin with. Which we can go into the Oculus Rift things in a little bit, because we're probably going to be discussing that in terms of segueing in a bit. But what about you, Xander? What do you think?
I don't really go on Blip too much. So, I mean, it doesn't really. It's one of those things I'm just like, oh, okay. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see the Angry Video Game Nerd have his own Pixar movie. I don't know.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, to me, it's a very weird situation in a sense. If we're looking at it at the moment and we're looking at the way that things are kind of changing in terms of the company themselves, it doesn't seem like a situation why anyone would do this. And in my mind, it seems like it's internet censorship. That's what I feel about this. It may not be the case, as Travis has actually stated. Disney have tested these properties. You know, for me, it seems like a very worrying situation. But again, things may change.
I wouldn't read too much into it, though. I really wouldn't. I mean, they just bought Maker Studios and Blip TV and all that stuff. I mean, we're probably just reading too much into it right now, so we shouldn't worry about it right now until we actually hear that something happened. Like all of a sudden, like Doug Walker says their channel's being shut down, or if Polaris is saying we're actually going to be going off the air and all that stuff. So until we hear anything that's really damning, I think we should not worry about it right now.
Very, very, very true. Now, going on from that now, of course, let's talk to you a little bit and get your ideas on the news as well. Segueing from that, let's talk about the Oculus Rift and Facebook. Xander, when you heard the story about the Oculus Rift, Facebook buying it, Mark Zuckerberg was actually saying that he could see it becoming the future of the internet, so people could be buying stuff off of this mechanic. And now I know Alpha Omega Sin has talked about this quite a lot. Shout out to Alpha Omega Sin in terms of this, saying that Facebook doesn't know how to handle the Oculus Rift, and because of that as well, because of that buyout that they've actually insisted on, it's left like gaming companies like Mojang, for instance, who created Minecraft and was doing an exclusive version for the Oculus Rift, so you can actually experience Minecraft inside these goggles, in a sense, which it's like looking in the fourth dimension, you know, because you're in the game. It's like you're a part of the game itself. And by doing this, do you feel that the Oculus Rift is not going to be used the way it should be used?
I kind of feel bad for the people that actually support the Kickstarter for Oculus Rift. I mean, didn't it start out as a Kickstarter?
It did, yes.
I mean, I feel kind of bad because, you know, the people that supported Kickstarter were probably thinking about the future of gaming, not the future of, Facebook. You know, so I kind of feel bad for those people. And I mean, just imagine, you know, all the Facebook ads, or, you know, you're on there and you're like checking your wall, and all of a sudden there's like a 3D invite to Farmville, or you know, something like that. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I think this totally kind of kills what could have been with the Oculus Rift or whatever it's called. You know, I think it kind of killed it. But you know, what's weird is like 3D and virtual reality is one of those things that we've yearned for since technology started, and it's like the closer we get to it, the more we kind of lose interest in it. I mean, look at 3D televisions.
Yeah, no, I agree. In terms of the gimmick itself, and also in terms of the fact that going to those type of like dimensions in a sense as well, kind of takes you out of reality itself. It's distancing people from general communication, and it's making everybody become sort of reclusive, because you don't really need to go outside. You can just stay indoors. And imagine me and you talking around using our fucking headsets, or seeing the penis version of the Oculus Rift. Someone actually made that in Japan, having sex with your computer system without leaving the house. It's a very disturbing kind of trend. It's a great device. It's don't get me wrong, it's a great thing for gaming. But in the hands of someone like Mark Zuckerberg, who doesn't deal with gaming properties and deals more in social media, it can turn a different way. Now, one of the reasons why I talked about the story as well, because it does segue onto the Microsoft story, because Microsoft were a PC giant getting into the world of gaming. That never happened before. Now, the little doubt we have about Facebook could change once we actually see the way they treat this property. Now, Travis, you've spoken about this as well. What do you think about this?
I just don't see I see that they're trying to incorporate a new way of playing games and all that. And Microsoft has always... What the hell?
Sorry, that was my phone.
No worries. It's, Microsoft, they're trying to be like Nintendo in a way where they're trying to be kind of innovative and come out with new ways to enjoy games and everything. I haven't heard too much about this, their version of the Oculus Rift. So, whatever. I don't have an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One, nor do I have any intentions on purchasing it. But apart from that, it's kind of hard to say. Now, I did want to go back to this whole thing about Oculus Rift with Facebook and that. I've heard that they're going to be doing like some sort of an injunction against this purchase, because when this whole thing happened, when Oculus Rift was being funded through Kickstarter, there is some kind of a clause stating that anything that's developed by by Kickstarter, through Kickstarter, cannot be purchased by a big name company while it's still in development.
That's a point as well. And this is the big thing that we have to think of. Now, look at the big Hollywood properties and people using Kickstarter for stuff like this to begin with, and then it changes. Once it gets into the hands of a big company, are they going to buy? Are they going to buy out the rest of the investors on this? Because that really gives them a big fuck you, doesn't it, in terms of the device itself?
I think that what they probably would do is, if this injunction does go through, this will cease the purchase of $2 billion for the Oculus Rift. So, but yeah, that this shows how big American corporations are nothing but a bunch of jackoffs who don't care about the consumer. They just care about lining their pockets with your cash.
I agree. In a sense, it's kind of sad, because from what Facebook used to be and what Facebook is now, and me talking about Mark Zuckerberg a little bit, the fact that the guy doesn't actually, he earns more from his shares than he does from actually his general pay in the company now. He earns $1, right? So he doesn't get taxed, because there's no tax and stuff like shareholdings and windfalls. It's a bit of a dilemma here, in terms of the way that he's treating this property. It is kind of taking something that's in the hands of the consumer away from the consumer themselves. Zach?
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say first was when Xander brought up all the ads, did you guys ever see Idiocracy?
Idiocracy, yes.
Well, there's a point where the guy's watching television, and it's like a big screen, but like there's all these ads. There's like a shit ton of ads around the entire screen, and like, so it's a huge television, but the actual TV that he's actually watching is like this tiny ass little square in the middle with all kinds of ads around it. And it's like that movie is meant to be a joke, but like so many things about that movie are coming true, and I wouldn't doubt if that's one of the things that also comes true. Anyway, so what I wanted to say was things like this, like more companies coming into video games.
Yeah.
You look in the 80s when they had the crash, because the game world was so divided. There was so much shit. You had like Coleco, you had, Atari, you had, I don't know, a bunch of others that I can't remember. In television, you had all kinds of things. And it really divides the gaming community. Even look at the late 90s to the early 2000s, you had 4 big systems. You had the Dreamcast, the GameCube, you had the Xbox, and you had the PlayStation 2. Looking back at that, in my opinion, that's a lot of shit. That's a lot of stuff to choose from. That's a lot of stuff that it just, in my opinion, divides everything. So now, if you look at gaming now, you have the PlayStation for big consoles anyway. You have the PlayStation, you have the Xbox, and you have the Wii U. And to me, that's much more like able to be digested than even 4 systems, even one more system. I feel like it's just so much stuff. And now you have the 3, you have the Ouya, and yeah, maybe it's not doing as well as people hoped, or no one buys it anymore, but like it has a fan base, and that's dividing it with that. Amazon's getting into it. You had that On Live thing. I don't know if that's still going on.
That is still going on, but the one big thing about that, and the one reason why I'm not supporting them, is because they basically screwed over every single person involved in the company who was a shareholder by liquidating the company and starting up again.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people lost their jobs and their homes.
Okay, yeah, a bunch of dicks there.
Yeah.
So then, you have, like I said, you have Amazon. They had a thing saying they wanted to come in. If you have Oculus, there's going to be so much shit. There's going to be so many choices. There's going to be such a division in the gaming world. I wouldn't doubt it if all this shit comes to light and all these companies, dive in. They all want to get into video games. I wouldn't doubt it if we have the exact same crash they had in the 80s, and people just don't know what to buy. They don't know what to do. There's going to be so much shit coming out, and it's just going to screw everything up.
Do you think Nintendo's going to come back and save us all?
Yeah, I think Nintendo will always be the beacon of that is always there strictly for games. They're not even, these other people are trying to do it, in my opinion, just to see how much cash they can make. And Nintendo, I don't think they really give a shit. I think Nintendo strictly is always there for the games, and they'll always be the person probably bringing people out.
So let's talk a little bit going on from there to Nintendo. We've just recently seen the reveal of Mario Kart 8. Has anybody seen the graphics on this? It looks fucking amazing.
I was about to say, I have.
Yeah. Okay, Xander, so let's ask you then, in terms of Mario Kart 8, what the hell do you think of that? It looks so sexy that I just want to make love to it.
well, it looks fantastic. But one thing that was brought to my attention was, if you notice, the mechanics is actually changed a little bit. The way your viewpoint is when you throw objects behind you is different now.
Okay, elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, you can kind of see a little bit more behind you before you throw an object, so you can kind of be more precise of who you're going to throw that, turtle shell at.
But we've still got the big blue shell though, so you can always just.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult for someone anyway. And I was always precise with my turtle shells. If I hit a fucking red shell or a green shell, for me, that wasn't fucking different. As soon as I get in my line, it's like, pow! It's one of the reasons why I love that game so much. I was really brutal to my kids when we were playing Mario Kart Wii. So like, Dad, no, this is war. So, Travis, what about you? What do you think of this? How sexy do you think this is? And do you think it gives us high hopes in when the game will arrive in May?
I'd be going a little bit too far by saying that I creamed my jeans when I saw the video. But it definitely, I am like the most hardcore of Mario Kart fans because I have been playing Mario Kart ever since the first game came out on Super Nintendo in 1992. And I've been following the series ever since then. And just watching this video, and it's like, all I gotta say is, Retro Studios and Nintendo, you guys make a fine relationship because I am dying to play this game, and I cannot wait for it to come out in May. And what I like to see with this game is an improved online capabilities with this game, because it was okay with the Wii, it was alright, it wasn't too bad, but I just hope they do this a little bit more this time around. And I think it's pretty interesting how in this game now they've introduced how you can actually race on walls and on ceilings and everything. It just makes you kind of wish, like, well, okay, they've got this going on, but I really like to see an F-Zero. I'm just throwing that out there.
What about you, Zach?
I haven't seen it. I'd love to see another F-Zero. I haven't seen this one, but I do have some news about Mario Kart.
Okay, so just segue from that and go on to your news. What news do you have for us?
Okay, the news that I had was if you go to IGN right now, there's actually all the tracks. They said, let me see. Where's the news? I'm dumb. Hang on. So it says every confirmed track in Mario Kart 8. Oh, never mind. I thought they meant every track was confirmed. So yeah, I guess they're just saying that they're showing all the tracks, all the cups, all the stuff on IGN right now. And it looks like there's quite a bit. I don't have a link. I'm using two different computers here. They got, Mushroom Cup, Flower Cup, Star Cup, Special Cup like always, and then they got a bunch of retro stuff, which looks pretty cool. I am going to watch there's a picture of like Toad. There's like a motorcycle going off a jump, and like Toad is on the front, like Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic in the thing.
Yeah, there's a female Toad in there as well. You notice, and a silver, or sort of more of a metallic Mario.
Oh yeah, like the Metal Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was gonna mention is they've confirmed about 35 tracks. It's going to be in a Mario Kart, and one of the things that kind of made me sad at first when I first heard that they put so many tracks was one of the reasons why they were able to put so many tracks because they took out the track editor. There was actually going to be a track editor. Yeah, they were actually going to have a track editor in Mario Kart, but they took it out and they just replaced it with more courses.
So that basically puts us onto another part in terms of that as well. So what about you, Travis? In terms, I know another little bit of news we've got. We still haven't been confirmed whether the Americans, like the United States side and across the rest of Europe, will be receiving the special edition that's, well, I myself have pre-ordered. With the
what was in that special edition?
It has the blue shell, has the Bullet Bill T-shirt, and it also has a keychain that you get with it as well, plus a premium copy of the game. It's, I believe, £40 here, so that's in dollars about $75.
Okay.
So the thing is, the difference between that copy and sort of the game copy, and because I know there's a region lock on the system, I was actually going to import a copy for Xander, but that's not going to happen now because he won't be able to play it anyway. He'd have a cool looking turtle shell there, but he'd be sitting there crying over the fact that he can't play the game.
Yeah.
Tears as lube.
Yeah.
Lubing with his tears. Sends it to Miyamoto.
Why the hell are they region locking this?
They region lock the entire system anyway.
Oh, no shit? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that you can't actually do anything with it. It's annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying. I thought we were past this.
Yeah, and it's in terms of Nintendo itself, it doesn't help. Now, ladies and gents, we're going to be right back, as there's just been a bit of an issue with the Blog Talk system, and we're going to quickly come back live with our episode. So we will do that just in a little bit, as we'll be coming back with part 2. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. We were offline for about half an hour there. We are back with some more news. Of course, we were talking about the Wii U, of course, and the upcoming Mario Kart 8 game for that. So let's continue on from there. And Zach, you have some news for us. So Zach Latour, what is in the news this week, bro?
Yeah, this is actually my favorite piece of news. I think this is awesome. So there's a game called Battlefield 4, and it came out last year, October 29th of 2013. And a couple days ago, on April 4th, yesterday, someone found this Easter egg where you can find a Megalodon, which is a big-ass shark, in Battlefield 4. So it says on the Nansha strike map on the Naval Strike DLC, a giant shark or a megalodon can be triggered as an Easter egg, and it says this is how you do it. How to trigger this massive shark. 10 players are needed to bait out the shark. Load Battlefield 4's Naval Strike DLC, specifically the map Nansha Strike. Head out to the water's lonely buoy with 9 other suicidal players just outside of sea. Once all 10 players have gathered, the shark will break the surface, landing atop of anyone brave enough to swim its waters.
Wow.
And I think that's awesome.
I do too. I think that's actually kind of cool. So, thoughts on this, gentlemen? Xander?
That's cool. I think Battlefield 4 fans, so I'm just like, that's cool.
What about you, Travis?
I don't play Battlefield 4, so whatever.
I mean, well, I don't either, but I still think it's badass. Like, one thing I remember was when somebody found a Easter egg from Arkham Asylum, like, years after it came out, because you know how you can put that, like, explosive shit on walls, like, where they can blow up? Well, it said, like, somebody, like, just put it on a random-ass wall that didn't even have, like, when you put on your bat vision, it didn't even have the, the mark to blow it up, and it blew out, like, a random wall, and it was, like, a whole secret spot in there that he found. I just think Easter eggs are awesome. It's like what things in games have people never found?
Fair enough.
True. And also in other news, because we were just actually discussing off air while we were sorting out our technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen, me and Xander and Zach and Travis here were talking about trolling, and in big news today, Adam Sessler from Red 3 Games has announced that he'll be leaving the internet in its entirety to pursue other endeavours, and the rumour going around is it's mostly because of internet trolls and the way they've been treating his articles and his credibility as a gaming journalist. So we'll start with you, Zach. What do you think of this?
It's the internet. I'm sorry. It's either be a man about it or shut the fuck up and go away. The internet, there's something called the greater fuckwad theory, also known as the greater dickwad theory. It's like person plus audience plus anonymity equals total fuckwad. And it's very true. And it's because, you're not seeing anybody face to face that everybody likes to be an asshole. Nobody likes to necessarily support somebody or whatever. And, that's just how it is. Deal with it or shut the fuck up, in my opinion. I don't know.
What about you, Xana?
Like I said earlier in the conversation, you have to have thick skin. I mean, it goes with any sort of entertainment, whether it be, blogging or vlogging on YouTube or, being a musician. I think Zach, he can agree with this too. When you're playing music out there, or even you, Burhan, with acting, is you have to be able to take criticism, or you're going to have to take people that are just being dicks. I mean, if you care about what everyone thinks so much, then you'll find yourself, really getting burnt out and not wanting to do it anymore. It's got to be a passion. If it's a passion, who cares?
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm not in my career as an actor. I look at myself basically as someone who's not in it to make money. I'm not in the person there. If I do make money from it, or I'm amazing. It's a little extra. Do you know what I mean? It's not the main reason why I've gotten into it. And I think a lot of people who've gone on to sort of like the YouTube and make money as gamers, Angry Joe, one of them was like the prime sort of person in terms of who's made a lot of money from being a quote-unquote game critic and having it mostly funded by his YouTube channel and that guy with the glasses kind of endeavor that he has. And, getting very angry and upset because of the fact that nearly got taken away from him because of the whole YouTube scenario. And if you're in this to make money, you have to know that in the end, that's not that could end any day now, just like that. If these studios decide to put on more embargoes, stop people from enjoying their content, and say, you know what, we own that fucking content, you can't report on that. There's not really anything that you can do about it, and the same goes for trolls. If someone's going to sit there and shit on you, you either got to take it on the chin and say, you know what, I just got to show you how good I can be. you could one day see someone who you could say is the shittest actor in the world win an Oscar. In the end, that person could prove you wrong. You could see load of critics on Leonardo DiCaprio in fucking Titanic saying he was terrible in that and Romeo and Juliet, and seeing how he is in The Wolf of Wall Street saying he's the fucking greatest thing since sliced bread. It takes time. And one of the things that kind of I found curious in terms of the Adam Sessler situation was he's gotten fed up because people don't believe that they're taking him seriously anymore because, again, it's the internet. So you either can take it on the chin and say, hey, I'm making a good living from it. It's fine. They can call me a dick and whatever, but they still frequent my site. Or you can sit there and go, you know what? Boo-hoo, I'm gone. So that's my retrospective. I agree with you wholeheartedly. In the end, it all comes down to internet sort of critics and reviewers are part of the entertainment industry. We watch these videos to be entertained. If you're not happy with the entertainment industry, you can take your ball and go elsewhere, or you can sit there and say, hey, I'll take it on the chin and just keep going. Travis, what about you? What do you think about this?
Well, the thing is, I've respected Adam Sessler even during the days when Tech TV was on the air and everything, and then when he left X-Play when G4 was going down faster than the Titanic, and then joined up with Revision 3 Games. To be honest, I really expected better of him because he is in this industry where that there is going to be a lot of criticism from those who are reading his articles and everything. That's a given. That's something that all journalists have to deal with, and nobody's immune to it.
Yeah.
And it's like what Xander just said. You have to have a thicker skin when it comes to getting criticism for the things you say and do, being words being published in an article on the internet or in newsprint, or if it's just simply putting up a YouTube video. You have to understand that there's going to be different viewpoints out there that are going to be different from your own. And there's going to be trolls everywhere. I mean, no matter, as long as there's going to be the internet, there's going to be trolls. And they're going to say everything they can just to get under your skin. But at the end of the day, you just have to accept that, hey, I'm in this industry for this reason, and I should really just stay focused on that and not let these idiot bastards try to make me look like I'm the fool.
Yeah, and there's a term used for it as well as keyboard warriors. These are people. I posted an article recently. I was talking to everybody in the IGG here about this, where I posted an article and people went fucking insane. I leaked a story that I stated that after talking to Xander about it, that I saw two different opinions, and I did a video about this in regards to an Xbox One and an update that happened here in the UK in March. That's happening in the United States in April. To fix the friend list is kind of that sort of update, but it's stopping, from a few people that I've heard, it's stopping their consoles from actually functioning properly to the point where you need an active internet connection to install your games onto the system. So it's reinvigorating the whole DRM debate in terms of the Xbox One, which is always going to be there. Don't get me wrong, and I think we'll discuss that in a little bit in terms of that, because I find DRM a very dirty word, but downloadable, is kind of a dirtier one for me. And I got the amount of hate and venom I got before people even looking at the article, people taking shots at my site, Nerd Genius, which is it's my personal blog site basically, and the article I wrote taking offense to the video, talking about me in general, insulting me. I've had people take shots at my kids as well, and take personal shots from a video that I did. Like I did a video on Nita Sarkeesian. Someone basically tried to troll the video by saying, "Who's that girl in the background?" I was like, "It's my daughter." And then the person trying to insinuate I'm a pedophile. It's one of those things. You've either got to say, you know what, block, move on, or you allow people to get under your skin, you get wound up about it, and then there's no progression. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help anybody else. Now, moving on from that, we've actually had a new CEO actually implemented for the Xbox. The head of the Xbox Bing operations by the name of Stephen. I know the name. 1 second. I have to look it up because, again, sorry, my brain is not that great on remembering some names. Steve, new CEO of Microsoft, of Xbox. Okay. Stephen something or other. Sorry about that, guys. I'm literally trying to figure out the name. He's the new chief executive taking over Microsoft's Xbox division, and I'm trying to find it. He's by the name. He was like the next person. It wasn't because Don Matrick. There we go.
Stephen Elop.
No, it's Phil Spencer. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer. I didn't know it was Stephen. Phil Spencer, who took it over by a different individual. He was basically the vice chairman of Xbox operations, and he was basically there when Don Matrick's successor took over, and then left, and Phil Spencer took over in terms of that role, and he's stating that he apologizes for the past mistakes that Microsoft has made, and believes that, he believes he'll bring gaming back to the Xbox. Now, we'll start with you, Xander. What do you think of this? Do you think it's false promises, or do you feel that he's probably genuine about this? Because he had an interview with Major Nelson of all other people.
That guy's a dipshit.
Yeah, he is a dipshit. I agree. He's an arrogant dipshit as well.
Yeah, he is.
Major Nelson for me has no fucking credibility whatsoever in terms of a person who sits there and goes, who got angry when people asked him the question about the DRM, and he's like, well, you don't know that, do you? And when a comment, and it was actually so funny when Angry Joe made that comment of, well, you could put a patch and reverse that. Well, you're not part of that team. You don't know if we could do that. You don't know if it's in the system, blah, 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 blah. And then they reversed it afterwards. So he's a douchebag. But speaking with Major Nelson, he was basically, Phil was actually stating here that he believes he's going to put the gaming back in. He apologized profusely for the others that dealt with the system, and feels that they've alienated the gamers from the Xbox One. So, Xander, what do you think?
Can we really just keep wondering about Microsoft and their PR? I think that's something they really need to fix. I think I know a lot of people talk about Nintendo kind of being disassociated with the times and stuff like that, but Microsoft is just, in some aspects, are so arrogant about stuff.
No, I agree, and it's like, why do you have a problem with that? I remember when they first released the whole specs of the Xbox One, and they went to people, well, I don't see what the issue is, and people were looking at them like, really? You don't really see why people have got a problem here. And yeah, you're totally right. Maybe it's going to take a lot of time to fix. Hopefully, if they make promises that they can keep this time around, it makes things a lot easier. But implementing games like, for instance, I was having a conversation with someone quite recently about Titanfall, and they said because it's a multiplayer game, as soon as that machine goes offline, you'll never be able to play. Imagine one day they discontinue with the Xbox One. You will never be able to play Titanfall again once servers are offline for that game and support has been taken off. So you've got a disc that you paid $40 for, brand new, that you won't be able to use again once it's been discontinued.
And then a lot of that's the reason why so many people are so mixed match with digital media. It's just the fact that once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's a very, it's like in a sense it's an enigma, but it's also a conundrum in the same sense. It's one of those things that you can sit there and think, should I invest in this? Should I invest my money? And there's loads of different schools and thoughts in this. So, Travis, what do you think of this? Do you think Phil will do a great job here? Do you know his resume? Do you know if he's any?
Well, I mean, I really don't have his track record right here in front of me, but I really just after everything that's gone on here recently with the rumors of DRM being reintroduced to Xbox One and everything, I really hope they don't go that route. And it's just hard to say because Microsoft and Xbox, they have flip-flopped so many times in such a short amount of time. It's just it's really hard to take it at face value at this point.
I agree with you. So moving on from that, let's ask you, Zach. As you said, you hate Major Nelson with a passion.
Yeah, that guy's a fucking idiot.
So let's ask you a little bit about that. Do you think it was wise to have Major Nelson interview the guy?
Well, Major Nelson, I know the interview you're talking about with Angry Joe, and as soon as like Angry Joe asked him about that, and he got all defensive and shit, and I was like, this guy's a fucking idiot, and he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And for him to criticize Angry Joe for asking a question, like, are you part of the team? It's like, bitch, you're not fucking part of the team, so why don't you shut the fuck up? You know, like, I don't like the guy. He's a fucking idiot. But here's what I want to say, whether it's Major Nelson or whatever. For one, Xbox, you're talking about alienating whatever, they've alienated me. Back in the 2 generations ago, when there was the PS2, the GameCube, the Dreamcast, and the Xbox, I had an Xbox, and I was a huge supporter of it. I fucking loved it. I mean, it had some issues, but I loved it. Then the 360 came out, and I also loved it. I thought they did so many things right. And then when I heard about all this bullshit that they were doing, and then they just go like, oh, we'll just install a patch. The point of it is I don't trust Microsoft. I don't trust them. I'm not giving them any of my money. And I can already tell that the Xbox One isn't doing as well as they was hoping it was going to do, because they already have an Xbox One that comes with Titanfall, and they had a copy, there was like already a promotion on Amazon where the Xbox One that came with Titanfall was $450. So it was already like on sale. And I can already tell like they're a bunch of douchebags, and yeah, they've alienated people. Everybody is going to have that nostalgia moment where they're like 20 years old or 25, and it's like, shit, you know, I love that game back in the day. I wanted to play it. And for somebody, it's going to be Titanfall, and there's no way they're ever going to be able to play it.
I agree wholeheartedly with you on that, because it's you're treading dangerous ground when you have a game that consists solely online. It looks gorgeous, it looks sleek, it looks sexy, but there's 2 issues that I find with that game. One, it's all online, and 2, where the hell is the Xbox 360 version?
That's a good point. But I don't trust Microsoft, or at least Xbox. I don't like that they fix things with a patch. I don't like that, because they can just do another patch to get it, you know, back the way they want it. And like you were saying, they're slowly but surely doing it.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. They're a bunch of douchebags. Major Nelson's a fucking douchebag. I don't know.
Don Matrick was a huge douchebag, and it was actually quite funny when he ended up having to stand down because of the entire fiasco. Like when they first presented the console, it was about, oh, look at this. This will do great on your TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what question I have? Whatever happened to the Halo TV show that they talked about?
Apparently that's still going to happen. But
wasn't that with like Steven Spielberg?
Yeah.
He's producing it apparently, and it's still going to happen. And I still think that the spokesperson for 343 Studios, she looks hot. Call me.
Giggity.
Giggity goo. So if, in terms of that, I think that still is happening from what I'm hearing on it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did scrap it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. They, one thing I do want to say, and I know it's pretty much meaningless, but the other day I was dumpster diving.
Yeah.
And I found an Xbox One case. And, that case, I give them props. That case is awesome. It's really, I think it kicks ass. It's like the best, even though it's just a fucking case and means nothing. When I opened it, I was like, damn, this thing's pretty badass. Like, so the disc is swapped, and where the disc goes and where the manual goes are swapped. So it's like you're opening something like upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, it's just nice. It says Xbox One. It's all like embossed and colored, and on the back it says Microsoft, but it's not embossed. It's like and it's got the symbol. I don't know. It's fucking sweet. I give them props on that. That looks pretty awesome.
So that shows that then. It's one of those things where you look at it and you think to yourself, you know, it really bugs me in terms of the in terms of them. They're very sort of showy in a sense. You can understand exactly where they were coming from, you know, as the whole terms of the system itself. They've kind of really shafted their fans. And, you know, for me, I've been a follower of Microsoft as well, the Xbox and the Xbox 360, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about that as we move on to our retrospective in a little bit. And with the system itself and with the newest incarnation, they shot themselves in the foot. And we're going to segue onto our next story, actually, where it was actually said, one of the developers of the Xbox One, and I'll go into this a little bit as well, actually stated that they should have followed the Steam model more closely. And if they did that, people probably wouldn't have kicked up a fuss about that. So let's go first to you, Zach, on that. Do you think that's true?
What do you mean by following the Steam model?
They basically should have done it so they had like Humble Bundle sales and stuff like that in terms of the system itself. Did it so they would give you a choice and not limit the discs. You know, originally they were going to put DRM on the discs as well, so you couldn't play the discs if it wasn't online. So you have constant online connectivity.
Oh, right, yeah.
What they would do, if it was digital only, there would be a discount on the digital games, rather than actually working towards, you know, doing then like actually doing the discs and online connectivity for the games, and they'll be all charged at the same price and no discounts, no sales, etc. Do you think the Steam model itself, do you think that model should be, is that just fine, or do you think that's a whole load of shit?
Well, to be fair, what I think about a bunch of these discs is they're just as worthless as just getting it download only. When I was hanging out with Booch, I think Diablo 3 had just come out, and he bought it like online for like $60 or however much it was, and I was like, you know, why didn't you go to the store? You could have bought it in a box with the disc and everything for $60. And he was like, but the discs are worthless. And I was like, yeah, but you could use the disc later on. And he was like, no, you don't understand. Like, literally, you can download the game from the internet. What you're paying for is the code. The discs literally have no value.
Yeah.
And that's really what this sounds like to me. It's like, if you have to go online to play this, and it's like an online-only game, what the fuck is the difference of you only having the download, the digital copy? It doesn't seem like there's any value in these discs. And when I heard that you have to install every single Xbox One game, that in itself becomes, all it is an install disc. And that's all it will ever be. You know, they could always bring back this thing where you have to pay a fee.
Travis?
Yeah.
Was that you?
Nope, wasn't
You're
me.
not anybody. What happened was not a natural disaster. You're lying.
That was random.
And the fact that like everything has to be installed and they give you such a small hard drive. I'm not saying 500 gigs is a small hard drive, but for you to have to install every single game you want to play, it's pretty small. For years, I had a 20 gig hard drive on my 360, and right now, it has like 18.9 gigs left on it. You know, so, because nothing had to be installed. And I didn't buy any downloadable games. I didn't buy any music or movies or any of that bullshit. So now they give you this 500 gig hard drive. I guarantee you those things are going to be full within the end of this year for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's one of those things, I think, in terms of consoles themselves, it looks pretty, but in the end, it's not going to help, was it? You know, if you look at this in general, if you look at the Xbox One itself as a system, the only way you're going to get people who are collectors like us, for instance, to buy this console we need to know that after sale, after the console's lifespan ends, we can still use this.
Yes, right.
You know, the Xbox you can. Yeah, fair enough, Xbox Live doesn't exist anymore, but you can still use the fucking console. You can still play the games.
Yeah.
And a lot of people find it very hard to digest, don't they? It's just like, I don't see the problem. You don't see the problem.
Yeah. Well, you know, something else I was thinking about was, you know, we see with PC games, when the servers go down, people do make, like, you know, private servers.
Yeah, that
So
happened with the original Xbox.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's something that could happen with that, but it's still just the investment and the money you put into making a console, or not making a console, but buying a console, the investment that you get into, and then knowing that it's limited. That's what's so disheartening about it, you know?
And another thing is that the thing that when they're like putting all these restrictions, it has no effect to them. Like if somebody's making something and they sell it to you, they have made their money, so they don't give a shit what happens to it. You could take that game and wipe your ass with it and throw it down the sewer, and they don't care. But like the fact of it is that, you know, once the servers go down, I don't understand why they give such a shit for you not to be able to play it. You know, it's like they're just assholes to be assholes.
No, I agree totally. And speaking of assholes, Capcom cuts profit forecast in half due to rapid changes in the games market. Now, if you read the article on this, I'm going to post this article at the bottom here for anybody, for you guys to take a look at, and also I'll post it on the I Got Gameplay forum as well for all you people that'd like to check it out. Basically, they're saying that the Dead Rising and Resident Evil games and properties and their home console market did well, but they had a drop-off of 33.9 million in terms of profits, and a lot of it was due to the rapidly changing mobile gaming market. Now, and also due to the fact that the Dead Rising 3 game was an Xbox One exclusive. You know, that kind of didn't hinder, it kind of hindered things as well. They're basically saying that due to rapid changes taking place in the market for games, Capcom is building a sound base for earnings by recognizing the product's development framework and improving development processes. You make a fucking Xbox One game exclusive, right? How, if you're fucking alienating PlayStation gamers, you're alienating Nintendo gamers who want to play your fucking game. Dead Rising 1 was released on the Wii, Dead Rising 1 was released on the PlayStation, and I know it was a timed release on the Xbox 360 previously, but it managed to make its way onto other systems, right? The popularity of the game's success, you released on the PlayStation 3, Dead Rising 2. Okay? Now, on Dead Rising 3, you release it as a console exclusive. Of course you're going to make a loss in the game. It sold 1 million copies to date. Right? In terms of the Resident Evil franchise, you fucked the franchise up. You distanced it from survival horror roots and turned it into a Michael Bay movie. Of course people are going to get offended. Of course people are not going to want to see it. Right? There's another problem there. And mobile fucking gaming. You cannot charge people 30 quid for a mobile game. They won't buy it. If you release retro games on a device and try to charge them a tenner, they won't buy it. Why? Because home console games do not translate well to your mobile phone. Now, going from that, Xander, what do you think of this?
Capcom. Crapcom. You know, they're just doing everything, and they really are. When you mention Michael Bay with Resident Evil, they really are the Michael Bay of video games right now. Right, you know, because they are taking our childhood video games, franchises like Mega Man, Resident Evil, even Street Fighter. They're just milking Street Fighter. They're taking those IPs that we hold dear to our heart, and they're just fucking them.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here. You know, it makes me laugh when they sit there and they don't see what the problem is. You crapped all over Mega Man as well, which I'm not even going to get fucking started on. And you are getting people fed up because you are not releasing things that the fans want to see. You are, Square Enix, and we're going to talk about them in a little mix. We'll sort of we'll segue onto that in a little bit. They are now recognizing as well, that this is what fans want. They want their games. We want the games that we have grown to love. We don't want Capcom mobile gaming, and this is one of the reasons they're taking a potential hit. Travis, what do you think?
I'm not the least bit surprised that Capcom had to cut their forecast that short, because, I mean, this is like what it's been mentioned here, is they've really taken some of these really popular games that fans have grown to love through the years and basically just took a big shit on them. Yeah. I mean, we're taking a look at how Resident Evil 6 panned out, and that game, I should consider myself lucky that I haven't played it. But from what I understand, it's a terribly bad game. It's not, it's totally different from what Resident Evil started out as. I mean, but in its defense, I will say this. The events have occurred in Raccoon City. That story has been told. And it's just stuff that's happened since then, and with the fall of Umbrella, I can see where Capcom's like, well, why don't we just try to do something a little different here? Have it be in the universe, but let's just change it up a bit. And for them to change it up a bit, this is what's happened, is they've made the game series into something of an empty shelf, what it once was. And apart from that, huh?
It makes no sense. It's like, why would you go that route? Why would you change the mechanics of what makes the game great? I don't mind the Resident Evil like Gun Survivor games, and the rail shooter type games. I don't mind those whatsoever. But by replacing the survival horror aspect to quick time events and replacing it to sort of a bang bang explosions everywhere, it doesn't help you because you're not scared anymore.
That's true, and it's really sad that they're not even trying to do anything to get us back to that realm, back to what made Resident Evil so wonderful in the first place. And of course, all this other stuff they've been doing, like they've completely stopped making Mega Man games, and there was a possibility of a new Ghosts and Goblins game coming out, but that got scrapped in a hurry.
Yeah, is that from Capcom's perspective, or are you talking about that trashy one made by that studio that had no fucking clue what they were doing?
But yeah, that too. But no, they've stopped making those games. They're milking Street Fighter dry and all that stuff, and I was like, come on, guys. If you're just going to be known as the company that makes Street Fighter, and that's it, I'm sorry, you've totally lost a lot of your fans. Especially the ones that have grown up playing all of your arcade games back in the 80s and 90s. I'd like to see some of those games reborn and done correctly. I'm still looking at you, Final Fight. That was atrocious.
I will say this.
Speak for yourself on that, Streetwise.
Yeah.
That's not true.
I was going to say another thing is, Travis, you should totally play Strider. That was really good.
I fucking want to play Strider. I mean, I want to play that game. I even want to play the originals, for goodness sakes. I mean,
Did they sit on the lower end platforms, Xander, or did they only release it on the PS4 and Xbox One?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can get it on PS3 and Xbox 360, and actually you can order from PlayAsia.com. You can get the PS3 version, which is actually a disc version on the PS3, and since PS3 is region free, you can play the import. But what I was also going to say was, I'm really surprised, and maybe it's just because of the Metal Gear Solid hype, but a lot of people talk shit about Capcom, but honestly, Konami's not any better.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's this, the thing is in gaming in general, and I think we'll have to touch on this in terms of an episode, but we're going to have to talk exactly about these companies taking the fucking piss in terms of their gamers. These companies that we held dear, that basically rode off the back of gamers enjoying their content and loving their franchises, and free thinking and understanding the the way that these companies would actually produce these kind of titles, they have now got to the point where, we did it on our own, we don't need you. And it's kind of left people in a bit of a fickle at the moment. It's like with I will tell you, back in the 90s, back in the early 2000s, Konami would not fucking dare release a demo as a full game. You know, that's a big thing. And now companies are relying more on sort of special editions, and you know, like Castlevania, Lords of Shadow 2, 3 different special edition box sets: Premium Edition, Special Edition, Collector's Edition, and the normal game. How can you warrant that?
Yeah,
I agree with you totally in terms of that one. But and as I said, the Metal Gear Ground Zeroes thing still left a bad taste in my mouth, because I'm like you, Xander. I'm very worried about the trend that they're setting in terms of this, because Konami knows that this is a success, and it is. It's very successful. It's sold over 1 million copies, right? Capcom, you're going to have other companies look at this and think, you know what? Maybe we can release games in small chunks. Maybe we can give you like a completed version of a game that you'd have to buy in 5 or 6 different copies. That's fucking scary. That's extremely scary. Zach, what do you think?
Well, one thing I wanted to say is I have been, okay, when I was really big into Street Fighter 4, was right when it came out. And then my buddy bought it, and we used to play it all the time. Then I was going to buy it, but I heard Super Street Fighter 4 was coming out. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait and get that one. Then I buy that one, and then right after that I hear the arcade one was coming out. And I was like, son of a bitch, like, fuck, I want that one, but now I can't sell this one for shit, you know, so I have to buy that one at full price. I didn't end up getting it, and I'm happy I didn't, because now they have this fucking thing. Like, this is no better than Madden, in my opinion. Madden is something that pisses me off because they charge you $60 every year for Madden, when all it needs is an update, like a character roster update. They don't change any of this other shit. So they could do it and just charge you $5. But instead they charge you $60 every year. This is the same shit. You can also see it with Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Right after that, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, or whatever the hell the name of that one was. This is bullshit. And it's annoying because it's okay. So my buddy who bought Super Street Fighter 4 when it came out originally for $60, like he has to now buy these other ones for $40 if he wants the most up-to-date one. This is the one time I will ever say in the history of video games where the registration card in the back of the manual is actually useful. Because there should be a thing where if my buddy had bought Super Street or Street Fighter 4 when it came out, he could have sent the registration card in. That way they would have known he bought it on day one, and then he should be able to get this shit all for free. He shouldn't be having to keep paying for this shit. You know, but unfortunately there's no way for them to do that, like without using a registration card or something of the sort, because people would just go buy Street Fighter 4 now for like $2 and be like, oh, I have this, so let me download the other thing for $5. But it's still bullshit, and they need to just move on because it's just annoying. Like, I'm not buying this, and I wish that it was just free because I'd love to play, but I paid whatever, $20 or $30 or whatever Super Street Fighter 4 cost me, and I'm not just going to throw $40 more out the window for this. Konami doing this shit with the demo, it's just annoying. It's you know, I mean, I'm not like a sucker to buy a lot of this shit. I personally thought Super Street Fighter 4 was going to be as far as they went. That's the only reason I bought that one. I didn't think there was going to be 2 more installments, making 4 in total, but it's just, I don't know. You got to distance yourself from the shit and just whatever. Go. That's why buy this shit when it's in the bargain bin. Do not give them the satisfaction of selling this stuff. You know, they talk about how they're going to have to cut their profits because the gaming industry is changing. No, you are just fucking up everything that you have. You have diehard loyal fans of specific series that you're not giving them anything. You guys talked about Mega Man. They keep dangling that in everyone's face and just screwing it up or just not doing anything with it. So, I don't know, whatever. They just piss me off.
Yeah, I agree in the same sort of level. It's gone to the point now where they're just taking the fucking piss. And they're like, well, we've got to change our gaming forecast. No, you've got to change your fucking behaviour. Appreciate your fans. If people telling you that there's a problem with something, these are the people that are buying your games. You know, it doesn't make sense when they go on to this, and we can segue now onto sort of like Square Enix, for instance, due to Bravely Default, due to how well this game has been received, they're now reconsidering the way that they actually send JRPGs over stateside. They used to believe that JRPGs had no merit coming over here from Japan to the States and to Europe, and they're changing their business model in terms of that now, because they're realizing that people actually like these games. It's not just JRPGs. This is a new story here. People like gaming in general, and people want to see good games. That's literally it. So it really annoys me when companies sit there and go, oh, you know, we got to change the way that we do things. You just got to give people some fucking respect. That's it. You know, respect the people that buy from you. Your consumer are the people that cares about you and cares about what you do. They want the next Mega Man. They want the next big game. We want the next Final Fantasy, but we want a good Final Fantasy. We don't want these fucking shitty quick time events, and we don't want to see Lightning Return every 5 minutes. You know, we want games that we can appreciate, that have a good story, a good structure, good characters, that we can actually play and replay and has great replay value to it. We want to make sure that we get our money's worth. That's another reason why I don't buy games brand new. And I've stated this before, the only game I bought brand new was Grand Theft Auto 5 because they gave me a shit ton of content with this game. I had like a free code for a blimp and stuff like that on it. You had Grand Theft Auto Online. You had free updates, free downloads and stuff like that for us as well. Costume updates. That you could play through the fucking story, be so entangled with it and play through it again because you want to see more. You know, there's YouTubers fucking building their channels based on this single game that have been running for the last 2 years, right, on the Grand Theft Auto series because there's so much content in these games. Grand Theft Auto 4 is still being seen as an amazing game and people are still playing through it because they don't feel like it's a waste of fucking money. I don't understand why these companies aren't learning. So, you know, I want to put it out there actually to you, Travis. Why do you feel that they just don't get or understand any of this?
Money, 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 money.
That's exactly what it is. It's all about the money. They really, when it comes right down to it, they have very little input from their fan base because they think they know what the fans want. And unfortunately, because of that mindset, they are losing money. They're making they think that they keep coming out with newer iterations of the same game over and over again, like adding more characters to Street Fighter 4 and just re-releasing the game with more features each and every time. They're not trying to get things going forward with them. They're just taking so many steps backwards and all that. They're just not listening to what their fans are wanting, and that's what's killing them right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And going on from that now, let's basically, because we've taken a bit too much time on the news, we're going to have a little break, guys, and we'll be back with today's topic, which is basically a Microsoft retrospective. So we'll see you in a little bit for that, and we will leave you now with a little commercial, basically. If I can find it, there we go, and we'll see you in a bit. And we are back. Now we're basically talking today's show, which is the premise is the Microsoft Xbox. Now we're going to be talking a little retrospective about the system itself, and talking about the Microsoft Xbox, the Xbox 360, and also the Xbox One. So we're going to talk about basically the console's launch and a little bit about the console itself. Now, let me ask you a little question to the panel here. Why did Microsoft decide to get into the gaming in the first place?
I think the reason why they wanted to get why they got into gaming is because they just knew that with how Sony was handling gaming as well as Nintendo with their systems and the games they were putting out, and how big this industry was getting, they thought that this would be a great thing to get into, because the gaming industry is more profitable now than it's ever been in its life. I think it's more profitable than the movie industry at this point. So they probably saw that and figured, we got to get into this. We should develop a system that's more powerful than the PS2 and just try to get some more just try to cash in on this. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I agree in a sense, because it's, for those people who don't know, the debut of the Microsoft Xbox was a big thing. Because can anyone name the last American company that produced a console?
What was it, Atari? Probably.
And what was the console?
Jaguar?
Yeah, Jaguar.
And when did it stop sales?
95?
96. Ah.
I knew it.
Basically, yeah, the Atari Jaguar stopped sales in 96. And the Xbox, basically the first initialization of the console, which was introduced in 2001, sold over 24 million units as of May the 10th, 2006. Microsoft was the second biggest console, as on par with the PlayStation. This was at a time when the Dreamcast was debuted by Sega, which, where we talked about before, was ahead of its time. And with the Xbox coming into fruition, it kind of sealed the fate of that console, and one of the decisions why Sega decided to take their business over to becoming just a game developer instead. Now, saying that, the Xbox was actually looked at as the Dreamcast 2, because some of the exclusives that the console had included Shenmue 2, which most people didn't know actually had a Dreamcast and Xbox release in terms of that as well, and it got a lot of Sega's first-party titles came over to that Microsoft platform. So let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's talk about the Microsoft Xbox and the titles that you guys remember from the console. So we'll start with you, Xander. What games can you remember from the original Xbox?
I mean, a lot of them that I remember was like, Fable, of course, Halo. What really got me wanting to get a Xbox, though, was Elder Scrolls Morrowind. That one really interested me, and I remember my buddy talking about. Also, the first Thief on Xbox was really, really good, and Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell was an exclusive on the Xbox to begin with. That was kind of like their answer to Metal Gear Solid before it became a multi-platform.
So yeah, we talking about that console. It was kind of the console that had a lot of series of firsts. My first Xbox, I still have it actually. My dad was given to it by a friend of his who came over and wanted to play Tiger Woods. So most people were playing like Call of Duty, a lot of the shoot 'em up games, and they would also basically playing Tiger Woods Pro Golf, every one of Tiger Woods games on this Xbox. And I remember he basically had another one. He had two, so he gave one to my dad. And do you guys remember the big clunky pad that it had? The
good old Duke.
Yes. It was kind of for me, it felt like you had a big pair of Turkish nuts in your hand, because it was very sort of clunky until they minimalized the pad later on in a second rendition of it and made it a bit more user-friendly. So Travis, what about you? What was your experience with the Xbox?
Let's see. I actually got my Xbox day one, basically. It was about 3 a.m. What happened? And I was off work. I got off work about midnight, and I had some bit of cash right there, and I was really torn in thought, should I or shouldn't I? And I thought, what the hell? Why not? So I went ahead and I went to Walmart, and I thought, okay, it's about 3:30 at this time when I got to Walmart. It was a half hour away, and I was like, I'm willing to bet as soon as I get in there, they're going to be gone. They had 4 consoles still. And I was like, sweet, okay. Picked that up, got a copy of Halo, like everybody else did. Cell Damage, which is actually a really cool car combat game.
I love that game. I fucking love that game.
I fucking love that game. And I think they're coming out with an HD version of that here soon.
Tell us a little bit about Cell Damage. What was that about?
Well, you know Twisted Metal, right?
Yes.
Take that thought and kind of reimagine the game as a 3D cartoon car combat game with the craziest cartoon characters you could think of. None of these were licensed. They were just original characters for the game. And it was very well made. I mean, it looked like it was a 3D polygon cartoon coming to life. It was gorgeous. And they are coming out with an HD version of that here. I forgot when, but I'm going to buy that because that game was just amazing back in the day. And then I bought, and this is when I realized for the first time in my life, I actually bought a bad video game. I bought Shrek for the Xbox, and the game was terrible. I was expecting it to be something like the movie, but it was nothing like the movie. Terrible controls and all that stuff. But anyways, that's a subject for another time. But buying that system, I was just like, wow, this is going to be really interesting. And I remember holding that controller in my hand. And I know a lot of people were kind of like not very happy with the controller as big as it was. But you got to keep in mind, I've got pretty good sized hands. So this was not, this wasn't too difficult for me.
Travis Scott has big hands, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That means he has a big dick. Sorry.
That's another subject. That's a subject for my show, the Unrated show. But no, I got the system. I came home and played the hell out of it until about 10 in the morning when I finally went to bed. And then I thought it was a really good piece of machinery. It had some really awesome games come out for it as well.
So yeah, last but not least, Zach, let's talk about your experience with the system. What did you think when you first saw the Xbox?
Well, I bought the Xbox when I was in the military. I didn't have anything. I didn't have any games or any movies or shit. I didn't have fucking anything. But one day, this place that I was at, this guy was moving, and he was like, "Yo, man, I'll sell you my Xbox real cheap." So I was like, "Yeah, screw it, I'll buy it." And the Xbox was the last system that I bought games for brand new. And I remember getting Doom 3, and I love that game. That game is fantastic. I think it only came, at that point, I think it was only out on the Xbox and the computer. I don't think until like the BFG edition did it come out on anything else. But that game was really, really good, and I love that game. Unfortunately, a lot of games that I played were multi-platform games. So, like Manhunt was one of my absolute favorites. Beyond Good and Evil I played on there, Psychonauts. But for some exclusives that I loved, and I'm going to shout these out to everybody, Voodoo Vince was an awesome game. It was really funny. You were like a voodoo doll, and to get through the levels, like to kill like bosses or whatever, you'd have to like kill yourself to kill like the boss, and it was just really funny. Stubbs the Zombie was another really funny game that I liked a lot. Yeah, that was a really good game. Probably one of my recent, I mean, I haven't played it recently, but now that I think about Xbox, like one of my more recent favorites was Stranger's Wrath. It was the last game, the last Oddworld game I think released on a console, and it was awesome. Like you had to go hunt your own ammo. You'd use like animals as ammo, and you had to go like hunt it and collect it. And it was just an awesome game. It was really cool. It was like a first-person shooter. I would definitely recommend that. And the last one I'm going to talk about is Call of Cthulhu. That game was awesome. It was really good. It was like a detective, like noir thing, but it was mixed with like H.P. Lovecraft shit. And it was really dark and twisted. It kind of reminded me of Eternal Darkness. and it was a really good game, and I had a lot of fun with that game. So yeah, there's a lot of just awesome Xbox games.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. Can anyone tell me where the name Xbox actually derived from?
Yeah, the Direct Xbox, right?
Correct. And what was that a reference to?
A program? I don't know.
Yeah, Microsoft's graphics API known as DirectX. So that's the reason why the console's name came into fruition. And the funny thing about this console is it's actually pretty big in America and Europe, but the console itself never made proper sales in Japan. Believe it or not, Japanese people do not like Microsoft's Xbox. Now, as history went on, they integrated a service called Xbox Live. It launched in November 2002 and allowed players to play games online with a broadband connection. It was completed with the Dreamcast's own online service, but later primarily completed with PlayStation 2's online service, which, if you know games like Resident Evil, what was it called? Was it Outbreak?
Yeah, I think it was Outbreak.
Yeah. Which allowed you to go on, online and play sort of online games and stuff like that. The broadband-only connection was not completely adopted as of yet, though, and Xbox Live was a success due to better servers, featured service, and also buddy lists and milestone titles like Halo 2. And as of November 2004, it's the best-selling Xbox video game. Was by far the most popular online game for years. Now, talking about the Xbox Live service, we've got to talk about this a little bit. What was your first impression when this was actually happened? Did you get your Xbox Live before the Xbox Live, or did you get it after?
You know, it's funny. I never played Xbox Live until I had a 360. The whole time I had an Xbox, I didn't even have internet. So, I would go to other people's houses and play Xbox Live. I think the first game I ever played was Halo 2. And but no, I never experienced Xbox Live with the original Xbox.
Yeah, okay. I'm pretty much the same because for most people that didn't know, I never actually played the initial inception of the Xbox Live. Now, was it a subscription-only based service when it was first integrated with Xbox? Zach, Travis?
I'm gonna guess it was always a subscription-based thing. I didn't have it. I just landed it. Nerd land it.
What was their way to sort of patch the service?
No, you could just make we were real nerd. Like the job I had in the military was like nerdy as hell. So me and my buddies were all big nerds. So we just made cables and we just connected both Xboxes together and just had like a LAN party. Yeah.
Yeah, you did a link system.
Yeah. We would just do it that way.
Yeah, it's actually quite a funny sort of thing as well, because my first experience with the Xbox Live system was with the 360, but we'll touch on that in a little bit. Travis, what about you?
Yeah, that was the first time I ever experienced Xbox Live was with the 360 when I got it. At the time, I had the Silver Edition, which you could access certain features and things like that, but not everything was available. I think you had to pay for when you got the Xbox Gold membership. That's when you can actually interact with other gamers through voice and everything. But I didn't really do a whole lot with Xbox Live when I did get the service.
Okay. So let's segue on then to the Xbox 360 then, because it's a quite funny situation here. Now, the Xbox was actually considered the number 2 console as the PlayStation 2, which won the console wars of that generation. Now, they released the Xbox 360 afterwards, where Microsoft did a huge fuck-off marketing campaign for the 360. It was released as a successor to the original Xbox in November 2005, and was competing with the Sony PlayStation 3 and Nintendo's Wii systems. It was part of the 7th generation of video game consoles, and as of June 30th, 2013, 78.2 million Xbox 360 consoles have been sold worldwide, and it was officially unveiled on MTV on May 12th, 2005, and the detailed launch of the game's information divulged later in the month by the Electronic Entertainment Expo, E3. The console sold out completely upon release in all regions except Japan, who said, "We don't like that ruddy system." So let's go back to you now, Zach. What was your first opinion of the 360, and why did you buy it?
Well, I didn't buy it at first. My buddy had one that didn't work properly, and he gave it to me, and I ended up using that for a long time. I don't know. It's just, I remember just playing Street Fighter. I didn't have a 360 for a long time. So I remember this guy was crashing with me and he brought his 360 over and we played Street Fighter and Street Fighter 4 and just random shit. It wasn't anything that I would have gone out of my way to buy. I liked what I saw, but the only reason I bought a 360 is because I found one of the R2-D2 ones on Craigslist. And that's the only reason I bought it, because I wanted that one.
Yeah,
but,
it's so gorgeous, that system. I still want one of those.
I agree. It does look awesome. But the one thing I do want to say about the 360 is I'm going to say the 360 has almost, in my opinion, like, due to variance, it has almost the top fan service ever due to variance. Like, there is a variant. There's so many fucking variants on Xbox, like Gears of War, Halo, Assassin's Creed. There was a Resident Evil one, Resident Evil. There was all kinds of colors. They did so much cool shit, and I love the fact that there's like 30 different Xboxes. I know there's a Modern Warfare one. There was all kinds of shit. So it's like anything that you want, if you like the specific thing, there's probably an Xbox 360 for you. I mean, I found the R2-D2 one. That was an amazing one. I thought it looked beautiful. And so I never bought one until I saw that because I wanted that one. But if that one never came out, I probably would not even have an Xbox. It's just I would rather have a PS3, honestly.
Okay. What about you, Travis?
Let's see here. But it was about the 360. What was my impressions of it? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, your impressions of the 360. What did you think of it?
It was all right. I mean, I wasn't really. It was at the time I was mostly a fan of Sony and Nintendo and everything, so I really did not give a whole lot of love and respect to the 360 at that time. I remember I was joking with my parents one Christmas, like they came to me like, "Hey, Travis, what do you want for Christmas this year?" And I was like, "An Xbox 360." They're like, "Okay." I was like, "I was only kidding." I wasn't really wanting to get that system, but they got it for me. And I remember I got a couple of games where I had Dead or Alive. I think it was like Dead or Alive 4. I think that was one of the launch titles for it.
Oh God, you poor man.
Poor man.
Well, I wasn't really a big Halo fan, so that counts against me as well. But I just really wasn't. I mean, when I got the system, that was the old model that thankfully wasn't one that was prone to the infamous red ring of death. I was kind of lucky with that. But I remember those early systems, they were so noisy. You turn them on, and it sounds like they're about ready to take off and fly out of your house.
Was right.
Take it off here.
But
stand aside, please. Trying to take off here.
It's like, oh, this is
like
Captain.
what if there was like little like fucking midgets in there and shit, like actually trying to take off, and you were stopping them.
That's a good point. But it was like, this is Captain Xbox 360 speaking, and we are clear for takeoff. Fasten your seatbelts. But no, seriously, they had like so many fans going at the same time, and it was just like, wow! I have to turn up the sound of my TV just to hear the damn game. I'm not kidding.
The one thing that intrigued me about the 360 was the fact that I didn't purchase any other next-gen console apart from the Wii at the time. The Wii, I told you guys about the story of me purchasing it on eBay for like 30 quid, brand new, because of the fact that the cog came out of the disc tray, and I put it back into place, being the techie that I am. And I then went onto a site and I enrolled for a competition to win some vouchers. Now, I won 60 quid's worth of vouchers. And it gave me enough to buy a pre-owned Xbox 360. So I went to HMV and I was like, I'm going to buy a PlayStation 3. And I saw it, and the Xbox 360 was actually, the arcade, I believe it was actually cheaper. And I was like, 60 quid, that's pretty good. And then they went to me, if you add like, say 20 extra quid on top, you could get the extra like pad and like a few games of it. So I decided to get that with a limited edition Halo pad, which I still have with me. And I got that. My brother purchased the Elite Edition anyway. And then eventually I upgraded to the version 2 system, which is the sort of the sleek variation that they've got now. It's more sort of Kinect centralized in terms of the system itself. And that had a different service. That was my first experience with Live as well in terms of system. And I enjoyed the fact that I could connect it to my PC and stream stuff via it as well at the same time, because my PC was in the same room. I could, watch stuff like my Netflix account and stuff on the system, on my later time. And the console itself was kind of an all-in-one entertainment system. I enjoyed that, but the majority of things I did is I saw it as a cheaper version of the PS3. The online on the system as well was amazing. The fact is you could play with all your friends online. As Travis said, there was this inane chatter. One of those things that I still hate when I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and you're sitting there playing, and people are online going, "Well, you're fucking go suck my fucking dick. You're a fucking man. Oh man, my mom bought this game for me." And sometimes you just have to put it onto group chat, so you just fucking get that chatter out your fucking ear. But I enjoyed it. One of the first games I played on it was like Left 4 Dead.
Oh God, I love Left 4 Dead. Dude,
I was orgasming with that game. I was playing with my brother online, and we're both, and we used it to kind of interface with each other and talk via the system as well. And it was a great experience. It still is. I still have my 360. I own, guilty as charged, 4 Xboxes. 4. And a lot of reasons is because either systems have been given to me, or because I basically found ways to hack these systems so I can use them to my advantages and stuff. And I own over 160 Xbox 360 games.
Damn.
And a lot of that is just due to sales, pre-owned games and stuff like that, and games that I want to play, but I couldn't afford at one time. Like, at the moment, Games doing a huge deal, 5 games for 20 quid. So I'm going in there and purchasing all the games that I haven't played yet, like Dead Island, Riptide, LA Noire.
Dude, that's an awesome game.
I purchased it for the PlayStation 3 recently, and loads of Assassin's Creed games, Hitman, is it Absolution, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And loads of other 360 games that I want for the system. But now what I usually do if I see a game on the 360 or the PS3 and it's on the Wii U, I'll buy the Wii U game, because I'm trying to support Nintendo even though they don't release much for that console. And when I look at these games and I look at the stuff that I want to play, and I have to admit, the 360 pad is so sleek in a sense. It's very easy to get my hands around. I love how everything's in the same place. Like, the top joystick and the bottom joystick are right in level with the way that my arms, my hands can wrap around the fucking thing. It's a nice pad, very easy to use, and I don't feel like I'm fucking straining myself, like am I getting wanker's cramp or anything, trying to keep the fucking
wanker's cramp.
Wanker's cramp. And like the center button as well to turn it on and off, it's great. And the one thing is, once they introduced the sort of the Kinect system to it as well, my kids now have a system that they can play on and stuff as well. And they bought a great deal of Kinect games exclusively for them to play. One of them, we purchased a game quite recently called, I believe it's called Car Joyride for the Kinect. And it's actually a Kinect game that works. I was like, what the fuck? This game actually responds to every single movement that you make on it. It's a nice little system, even though it's very buggy and they released it half fucking done. You can tell the things in its beta stages. But it's still a very good system, and it's a very valuable gaming system. It's a system that could be used for people who are more hardcore gamers that don't want to actually purchase a Sony PS3, which is still more expensive than the 360 itself, believe it or not. So E3 presentation revealed this in 2010. They redesigned the 360. They shipped it the same day, and the redesigned console was smaller than the previous 360 models, and it also integrated an 802.11 BGN Wi-Fi Toslink SPDIF optical audio output as well, USB 2.0 ports in comparison to the older version, and a special port designed for Kinect Peripheral as well. So basically, you don't have to connect it to a bunch of fucking wires to get the fucking Kinect working. but that's the thing with this console. Do you think, in general, that paying, I'm going to ask you a question about this as well because it's a paid model, paying for online play, do you feel that even though you're paying for it with Microsoft, that you're getting value for money? We'll start with you, Zach.
Well, one reason that it always pissed me off is I don't play online games, but I wanted to use my Xbox for Netflix. But I had to buy the fucking online Xbox shit, then to buy the Netflix shit. And it was annoying to me because I could have just got a PlayStation and just used the free online and just paid for just Netflix. And now, PlayStation has adopted, Microsoft's thing of having people pay for shit. Yeah, they give you free stuff now and stuff, but I don't know. I understand there's like maintenance and all this kind of shit they have to do on their end and set up all these servers and stuff, but it's like you buy the game. Why the hell do you have to pay for all this other bullshit? It's like, you buy the game, you buy the console, you buy all this bullshit, then you got to pay for online, you got to pay for electricity, you got to pay for internet on top of all that other bullshit. It's just so much stuff. It's like, I don't know. That's why I don't play online. I just go home, I play the single player. If it's something like Call of Duty, I'll just find it in the GameStop dumpster and play the single player that way and, whatever. So, I don't know. I don't like to pay for all this extra shit. It's like, for all this extra shit I'm paying to play probably a shitty game online, I could probably go buy some like Super Nintendo or Genesis games and play those instead. I don't know. I don't care.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one. So what about you, Travis? Do you feel like it's worth the money buying live?
Well, I was about to say that I think it's not really a great thing to do budgeting wise, but at the same time, nowadays with PlayStation, they have this service where with PlayStation Plus, where you have to actually pay a subscription in order to play games online or anything like that, and it's the same thing what Xbox Live was doing. But I have to agree with Zach that it's ridiculous that they have to pay a subscription fee to play games online with your buddies or anything, stuff like that. On top of the fact that you have to pay a monthly fee with your internet provider to even have internet in your home. So
yeah, well, dude, and then EA has the fucking balls to, if you buy a game used, you have to pay $10 extra fucking dollars for a code. So you have to pay $10. You have to pay $10 to pay $30 to pay for your fucking internet just to fucking play with people. Like, just fall off a cliff and die.
Or is that console based?
What's up?
With EA, is that PC only? Or is that console based?
That was, I think, just on the 360, wasn't it?
Serious?
Yeah, because when you would buy a game brand new, it would print the code on your receipt. But if I buy fucking Madden, even though I wouldn't, I would have to pay like $10 extra to be able to play that online. That was how they were trying to like fight back against the used game market and shit,
Well, EA can go suck a dick. I'm not supporting that bollocks.
No, they stopped it now.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, it backfired on them big time and everything, so they kind of switched gears and said, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. So,
yeah,
but yeah.
Suck a big fat fucking dick.
That's EA for you. They were going strong 3 years straight, being the worst company in America.
Well, EA, here's the thing.
You guys.
To be fair, I'm very happy that video games are now standardized when it comes to price. If you look at old school Nintendo powers, prices of video games were fucking all over the place. There would be games that were $30. I remember Secret of Mana in a Nintendo Power I looked at was $129.99. That's what it said its price was going to be when it comes out. And it's at least now you have a standard where you know every game that comes out for Xbox or PlayStation 3 is going to be $60. Whether people think that's too high or too low, I don't really care. I'm just saying it's nice that you know what everything is going to cost. But then everyone is trying to make all this extra fucking money, and it's like, they just can't be happy with anything. They need all this bullshit DLC, pay to win, fucking pay to play online, fucking pay to have your dick sucked, fucking all this bullshit. It's so stupid. It's just a waste of time. It's taking away from the core element of gaming. It's just trying to throw money at shit.
Yeah, it's basically like everything has to be. They have to milk everything until it's eventually done.
Yes, they kick the horse until it's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Or whatever people say.
No, I agree totally. So what about you, Xander? What did you think of the 360?
When it comes to Xbox Live, I mean, all of you guys made up great points about the fact that, it kind of sucks you have to pay to take advantage of, some services that you already pay for, like Netflix, or even with the Xbox One, you have to have Xbox Live to, get on Skype, or even YouTube on Xbox. I mean, you can't do that without Live. It never really bothered me though about paying to play, because I mean it's like $60 a year. That's the price of a brand new game, and if you go on Live a lot and you play online like every single day, you're gonna get your money's worth. Another thing too is, I remember a lot of people used to, complain about the 360, and they used to always say, well, it's free to play on PS3, it's free to play. Well, look what happened with the PS3. It got fucking hacked. So I mean, sometimes you get what you pay for. I mean, the money that goes towards Xbox Live is probably also helping with security, or maybe it's helping with some of the servers or something like that. So I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I can think of $60 to spend on things that wouldn't benefit me other than Xbox Live. I mean, it depends on what you want to spend your money on. So,
Yo, Xander, can I say something about that point? About the PlayStation Network? Yes, the PlayStation Network got fucking hacked and shit. But there's something when you're driving a car called like defensive driving, where even if someone else is driving like an asshole, you don't want them to fucking like smash into your car and fucking kill you. So you drive defensively so they don't fucking kill you. When it comes as far as like networks, the PlayStation Network was free, and you could go to the store and buy a card so that you could use your card on the internet. So, like, you could go to the store and buy this card, like, scratch off the back code, so that you never had to put your information online. And I feel like more people should have gone that route, and that's the route that I would have always gone, if I had paid for this shit. But it's like, yes, it got hacked. That comes it's not necessarily like you get what you pay for. We're living in a world where that can happen fucking anywhere. You can have your identity stolen. People can steal whatever the fuck they want if they get the chance. But it's like people should have been protecting themselves by buying these cards instead of putting all their information on these servers and all this bullshit. There's too many people like putting their cards all over the fucking place. That's why like PayPal is a good thing and stuff like that. So you only have it in one area that's actually protected. Obviously it could still get, hacked just like everything else, but at least it's only in one area. But yeah, I mean, it could have happened to Xbox. It could happen to everybody. It just happened to happen to PlayStation when it was free.
And it's also the fact as well, remember Sony's code was leaked online. And once the code was leaked, they can pretty much get their freaking whole system hacked. And all it takes is one person to find a problem with the system itself, and to cause issues. And quite recently with me, the system's still not secure. I don't have an issue with what happened, because in the end they did give me my money back. What I did have an issue is the way that the situation was dealt with. Now, in terms of Microsoft, they're no better, in my opinion. And the fact they try to get as much money off of it, as, like, for instance, if my 360's live account stops working, I can't play any of my downloaded games. And this is going to be a big issue that I'm going to touch on a little bit when I go on about it, because, like, my kids have 2 copies of Disney Infinity, for instance. They can play in 2 rooms of the house, right? They cannot play 4-player unless all 4 of these kids have an Xbox Live account, Live Gold account. How does that work?
Yeah.
And plus the fact it's a very dangerous environment as well. I've had my daughter use my Xbox Gold account, her mum's Xbox Gold account, and someone tried to prey on her. Like I was in the room and I told the guy to go fuck himself and reported him, but it happens. And it's a very, very scary situation in terms of the internet themselves, which is I don't believe the kids should have a gold account to play games, because they can talk to anyone. There should be an exception for minors in terms of like the silver level of accounts where it's free, they can play only kids games. That would do me well. But when a child has an Xbox Live Gold account, there's no adult filters unless you implement them on the system.
Yeah, but what you were saying, your kid was playing Disney Infinity, or whatever that is called, and someone was harassing him. So what stops some pedophile from...
No, it wasn't Disney Infinity. She was playing the game called... because we were playing a game together. I think it was Happy Wars, actually. And she was like, "Hi, everybody, I love you," like that. And somebody started messaging.
What a fucking creep.
Yeah. And he's like, "Whose voice is that?" And I messaged the guy back and said, "That's my kid. She's at the time, she was 2. I was like, she's a 2-year-old girl. What the fuck is wrong with you?" And the guy was like, "Oh, I just heard a voice." And I was like, "No, you're fucking being a creep. So I'm telling you right now to don't fucking talk to me again if you ever, but the profile says." I was like, "I don't give a fuck what the profile says. That was a child." So I reported him. I was like, "No." Do you know what I mean? It's disgusting. You have these arseholes on these systems. The system does not have any safety filters in place for kids to use Xbox Live Gold appropriately. This is my issue with the system, and this is one of the reasons why I stick to Nintendo systems, because they're made exclusively for children like my daughter.
Yeah.
Makes more sense.
And I was very to talk about something. You probably heard me giggling there a few moments ago. What the subject actually reminded me of is, and I posted this video in our chat. There's this classic video where there's this very mouthy kid who was swearing up and down the storm because he asked for chocolate milk, and he was just cursing and yelling and all that stuff. And his mom just told him, for the way he was acting, he had to get off. And he was like, "Why? That's bullshit!" He was carrying on like crazy. And it's just like, we need to actually have more filters on there, or just something that would delegate where if kids must have Xbox Live Gold, which is, I think, it's stupid for a kid to have in the first place, put them in a more appropriate place where they don't have to act like a bunch of friggin' idiots. And the kid was playing, I want to say it was Counter-Strike? I don't remember what first-person shooter that was, but it's just like, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I just really hate thinking that there's parents out there who buy these video games for their kids, and they use them as a babysitter, basically. And there's people like you, Burhan, who actually sit there and play the games with your children, which is the way it should be.
I'll say on that. Sorry to interrupt you. I purchased 5 games today, right?
Yeah.
3 of them were kids' games. They played Tetris on the 360 with me, which they enjoyed with their mum, and me were sitting down playing it with them. We then played Michael Jackson's, Michael Jackson dancing game. Angry Joe gave it a really bad review. I loved it.
Oh, the Michael Jackson experience.
Yeah, I literally, we were having a situation where I was doing some of the dance moves. I could tag my daughter in, so I would jump out when it signaled player 2, and she would jump in, and she would do some of the moves, and then we'll just be like bouncing in and out in order to get points. It was awesome. It was funny as hell. It was like, the exercise was there as well, of course. And I was experiencing all these nostalgic Michael Jackson songs. It was so fun to play. And we didn't need fucking Live Gold accounts to play this game. And it was a nice experience. We then played the Kinect driving game, Kinect Joyride. And again, we had an amazing experience together. And it was the fact that you want these kids to have a gold account and be in the same place as these fucking perverts and these people who play Call of Duty, and the fucking adult-oriented games. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's really disgusting. And of course, these are the same people who buy cell phones for their kids, like they really need something like that.
Well, I'm all for kids having a cell phone, but it's for what they need. Because like, if a child's at school, for instance, they need to call their mom and dad. That's fine. At the end of the day, though, there's a limit, and I think the problem is Microsoft haven't even looked into the potential issues with Xbox Live, even though people are paying a huge fee in terms of the accounts. And they eliminated something recently which I felt was a great system, which was the family plan. Now, the family plan itself, you could actually purchase 4 accounts on the same gold account, and you could monitor the other accounts. They've gotten rid of that. So everyone that was on my gold account with me has their own separate Xbox Live Gold account now. So now you're paying separate fees again instead of paying one bulk fee. It was like I was paying, I think it was something like £75, so it would work out that each person was only paying 25. So I got one for the family plan had me, which was the designated one. They had my brother, my eldest brother, and also my ex-wife as well, who was on the account. So all 4 of us would be on the same plan, and then I could designate my kids silver accounts each as well, and I could monitor them. I can't do that anymore because Microsoft's removed that.
Because Microsoft is, like I said, they will flip-flop several times because that's just what they want to do.
Yeah, it's because they got butthurt over the whole Xbox One situation. Now, let's go from that, actually, segue onto the Xbox One now. This is the final stage of our Microsoft Xbox perspective. So let's talk about the Xbox One, which was released recently on the 22nd November 2013 in North America as a successor of the 360. Now, it competes with Sony's PS4 and Nintendo's Wii U as part of their 8th generation of video game consoles, and it was announced on May 21st, 2013. So, Zach, let's talk about that announcement. When Don Matrick, the CEO at the time, came on stage and unveiled the system, what was your thoughts?
Unimpressed, and I wasn't supporting them anymore.
But what did you think about it when they said, it plays this and it plays that? Were you just like, what? I don't give a fuck.
Well, one of the things that's funny, it's like, oh, like you can, it plays like, regular television. I haven't had cable in like 10 years, so that to me, I didn't give a shit. Like, that is not a selling point to me.
What about you, Xander?
I was the same way. I actually remember posting a reactions video on my YouTube channel. It's an older video, and I was just not impressed. And I was just like, because they didn't really talk about games. They talked about everything else, Yeah,
that's sort of the thing. They did this huge expo thing. They're like, it plays NFL, it does this, it does that, it fucking sucks your cock, it cleans your floors, it does your dishes. Does it play games? Wait till E3 and we'll announce that. Does it play games? We have DRM. What? Nothing. I remember they let it slip, and people were just like, whoa, what?
But will it make beef Wellington? That's what I want to know.
But it was just a funny thing. It's like they were going on about all these things that the console could do, and you're like, but does it play games? We want to know what this games console is supposed to do. It's an entertainment center, but it's a games console. What games does it play? It watches NFL. You can Skype chat with your friends. What games does it play? Shut the fuck up. Are we at a games conference? It's a games console. And they did this huge hoo-ha about the system, and everyone's just sitting there going, what the fuck was the point of that? People on Facebook were confused. Like, did I see the newest, cable box? I don't understand.
Yeah, someone made a compilation video of that guy just saying TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TV, 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 and it was just like, okay. And I remember, they did this whole big thing, and then everyone was waiting for E3, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see what happens here. So yeah, Travis, what about you? Were you, as confused as everyone else?
I was just dumbfounded that they were saying it's called Xbox One because it's your all-in-one entertainment system. You can watch TV on it. You can watch football. You can Skype with your friends. You can watch TV on it. You can connect online with other people on the internet. You can watch TV.
It can tax your taxes.
It will make you a salami sandwich with extra pickles. You can watch TV. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to see what the thing can do. I want to see some games. But would you rather watch The Price is Right? No, I want to see what this thing is capable of.
Yeah, that was the thing that made me laugh. It was just like, okay, right, they're going to get to the games, they're going to get to the... And I just felt like I wasted just 3 hours of my life watching this shit. And then I reported on it as well, which, oh god. So we went on to there, we waited for E3 to happen, and for them to clear up, because they're like, just wait guys, we'll be a bit more clearer, once it's more clearer, then you'll understand. E3 happened, and they clarified the Xbox One. That the console itself, you were going to buy discs, put it into the console, you have to install everything onto the console, and it would require constant internet connectivity because they were afraid that people were going to buy pre-owned games. This console was put together out of a stupid, inane attempt at Microsoft to try and control the gaming market. And one of the issues that Don Matrick had him being ousted from his position as CEO of the Xbox division was he wanted us to basically, if you purchased a pre-owned game, Zach, say I had a game I didn't want anymore and I gave it to Zach. Zach would have to contact Microsoft and pay a fee to get out of a paywall that stopped him from playing that disc-based game. But I'd purchased that game. If I wanted to take that game and shove it up my arse to give myself anal pleasure, that's my choice. If I wanted to take my game, stick Xander's dick through it, that's my choice. If I wanted to use that game as a surfboard, that's my fucking choice. Why did they think that would be a great idea? So, Zach, enlighten me, please.
Well, one of the things they were trying to do was stop piracy, which is never going to happen anyway, so good luck. And another thing was, it's like, I understand what they want to do, but one problem that I have with digital things is digital media has different rights than physical media.
Yes.
Which is complete bullshit. But that's how the world is. You could take a record that you own and you could give it to someone or sell it at a tag sale. You could take a physical iPod and sell it and everything that you have at a yard sale, but you can't actually sell digital shit. There's all these rights and all this kind of bullshit.
Did Bruce Willis take Apple to court and won in a case where he wanted to hand his daughter over his playlist, his iTunes playlist that he purchased, all the albums that he purchased, he wanted to hand them over to her when he dies. And they went, no. She would have to basically purchase them herself. So he took them to court and he won against Apple. The balls on Bruce Willis took them to court and made sure that he basically said, no, he won a decision for him to give his daughter his entire library of purchases from iTunes.
Yeah. Well, see, that makes sense. I mean, he's paying good money for it. But I think one of the reasons I think that a lot of people are down with digital, like putting it out at least, is because a lot of things are like fads. Like if I go and buy fucking NSYNC's greatest hits, 20 years ago or whenever they came out or whenever, and I'm like, you know what, fuck, I did like that band. Let me throw that CD in. A lot of times where it's like people might buy it and they're, they don't know what the hell ever happened. They might buy it on iTunes and they don't know what the hell happened to it and they don't really give a shit. They'll buy it again, I won't lie, digital shit is cheaper, which well, not always, I guess, but it should be because, they don't have all this overhead. But it's just, I personally hate, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm older. I mean, I'm 28, I'm not that old, but I personally hate when there's something I could potentially own that I don't have complete control over it. So it doesn't make sense to me to buy all this digital shit when one day I could just stop working or they just won't let me have it or I can't give it to someone else. It's just money thrown away. So, I mean, I don't support it. I don't support it in any means. I don't just try to make it, I don't mean to make it seem like it's just games. I mean, music, movies, anything. I don't support any of that bullshit. If I don't have a physical copy of it or I can't get a physical copy of it, I won't own it. I'll just stream it on YouTube or something.
That's the thing that really bugs me as well. It's like, when it comes to digital media and DRM, there is no set law, but yet people use it and abuse that. in order to make a statement. Film companies, have done it. There's been cases where critics have had their videos taken down because of film companies not liking what they say about their product. Gaming companies, pretty much the same as what happened with Total Biscuit and his YouTube channel, to the fact where he could end up losing his YouTube channel if someone gets their butt hurt about something. It's one of those things where you look at it and think, damn. And with companies like that, with what's happening currently at the moment, and DRM, Microsoft were trying to make that physical. Like, you would basically be renting your games for $40. Imagine if they succeeded. Imagine playing Dead Rising 3, but not owning the game. That's scary. Xander, what's your opinion on this? What was the first thing that you said after watching their E3 press conference?
I mean, at that point, I wasn't interested in it anymore. I mean, they shot themselves in the foot with their first PR with the Xbox One, and I still don't trust them. I still feel like what they're doing now is they're slowly getting people used to the system they originally wanted.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I always tell people, that we are the consumers and we can make the changes. And I know a lot of us complain about DLC. We complain about all the things that are going on, microtransactions. But the thing is, it's like once we stop paying for it, they'll stop doing it. And that's another reason why, I was mentioning earlier, I made a video about the Ground Zeroes, Metal Gear Solid, and I was talking about how I wasn't going to buy it. It's not that I'm not a Metal Gear Solid fan, but I did not support the the potential practice of releasing half-made games, and I didn't put my money to it because, you know what, if they start making half-made games, I can know deep down that I wasn't one of the people that supported it,
That's the thing as well. I agree with you. And it's the same thing with me. I basically looked at Dead Rising 3. I went to the Microsoft unveiling of this console over here in the UK, and I also was offered to come down there and give it some positive press, and I did do. I gave it some very positive press on my channel. Most people who think I'm an Xbox hater, I'm obviously not. And I gave it every opportunity for Microsoft to make it clear that they were going to do what was right for the consumer. And the truth is, they're not. There's still that little bit in the air, that awkward moment where you feel that they could change this any time they want. And as Zach's basically stated, unless they make physical hardware changes to allow you to play your physical games and to play your downloadable games for your system, if it basically is like a ticking time bomb that could go off at any moment. Travis, what about you? What was your E3 feelings after you saw the press conference? What did it make you feel awkward? Were you happy about it? Were you satisfied?
Not at all, because I think that all the stuff that came up before they even talked about the system, I knew right from the get-go. I was like, okay, I've already decided I'm not going to get the system at all because of all this DRM stuff. And then we were talking more about the system and everything. And what we have to keep in mind is when they had their E3 conference, why they've had so much applause during their conference is because the room was actually full of Xbox employees.
I have also heard that. That is true.
Yeah. But at the same time, when people were actually watching it, either on TV or actually there during the press conference, I'm sure a lot of them were saying, like, Microsoft, what the hell are you doing? This is totally not what we want. But I think like the funniest part of the whole E3 experience was, I think it was the next day, Sony had their conference, and they totally blasted Microsoft away. The system was $100 cheaper because you don't have that fucking camera or whatever the hell that Kinect type thing is that. Sony wasn't going to sell anything like that with their system, and you could actually loan your games to your friends, and they can play them on their systems without any type of DRM issue. only thing that Sony really had to do was to say, our system's $400, no DRM issues, and then drop the mic, and they could have walked off.
Now, I will say this. That Sony originally was going to have DRM.
Yes.
They were originally going to do it. Sony was smart in the fact they let Microsoft go out and hang themselves. And they watched them hang themselves, and they kind of took note of what not to do. But I think if the shoe was on the other foot, if Sony probably would have went first, we'd probably be having the same conversation about Sony. But they were smart in the sense.
Yeah.
They were smart. They were like, you know what? People don't like this DRM stuff, man. Maybe we should not do it.
The thing is, this is what Xander's alluding to, and I agree wholeheartedly, is when someone does something that's a practice, and if the consumers allow them to do it, other companies may adopt the same model. We're seeing it with Sony and the PSN Plus being more like the Xbox Live Gold membership. We're seeing it now after the success of Metal Gear Zero and Zeros. Nintendo and Sony may follow suit. They keep a watchful eye on what the other person is doing, because if there's something that you're going to allow them to get away with, other companies will follow. So we've got to be careful what we let them do. If there's something that we don't like, we as consumers have to fight against that. And that's the big thing here. And as with the DRM practices, Sony were going to do the exact same thing. The only company that wasn't, believe it or not, folks, was Nintendo. And they still don't. If I download a game on my Wii U, I can actually play it. I can play it offline. If I wanted to take my console, take it off the internet, I could still play my downloaded copy of DuckTales Remastered. That's the thing. And that's the thing that people don't get. With DRM, with online connectivity, with constant internet connections and stuff, it makes the machine into a useless paperweight. And this was the big thing here. Now, after the issue, everybody went fucking crazy, and Microsoft saw that it was affecting the console's pre-order to the point where the Xbox One was at one point being outsold by the Ouya. Believe it or not, in Canada, it was being outsold by the Ouya. And they went back, they retooled, John Matrick took his fucking ball and went to another company. He's now working with PopCap Games because he's a fucking retard. And we had them. You know what really pissed me off as well, as Zach basically alluded to? They were arrogant as fuck. I mean, arrogant as fuck in terms of the way they dealt with the situation. The PR handling was terrible, to the point where you had people scratching their heads to, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? And now, before the console's released, they retweaked it and they gave everybody the disc-based games. They allowed people to buy and sell their games. They allowed used games. They everything that they said they were going to do, they undid with a patch. But in some ways, they are bringing that back. Again, Titanfall is the biggest thing here. Would you pay for a full copy of Titanfall on release day, Zach?
No, absolutely not. First of all, it's only online, and second of all, it's only on the Xbox One, so no.
What about you, Travis?
Nope, I don't think so.
Xander?
Nah.
That's the big thing here, guys. It's a very... The situation is, by supporting this, by supporting games that have no replay value, that you can't place as part of your collection, you are supporting a trend that could end up destroying gamers' consumer rights. Pretty much that, And I understand that the Xbox One is a huge entertainment console at the moment. This is the early days of the console. We may see a change. We may see changes to trends on the console itself. As I said, I've gone to the plays. I've played Rise. I've played Dead Rising 3. I've played Battlefield 4 on the console, and it's a very beautiful console. Everything seems amazing on it. It's on par with the PlayStation 4 in some ways. But in terms of next gen, it's a very, very scary place if we allow these practices to go through. And in terms of Microsoft, what do you feel the future is for Microsoft? There's been murmurings that they could end up selling the Xbox division off. Do you think that may be true, Zach?
I'm not so sure about that, but I'd like to say one thing, actually. As far as we go as Xbox, being dicks or whatever, I want to say one thing that hasn't been brought up. Since the PlayStation 3, the controller for the PlayStation has had a battery built into it that you could just charge and you never needed anything else. The Xbox 360 and the Xbox One both require fucking batteries unless you want to go buy the extra piece and the charge kit or whatever to actually make it work without them, which is bullshit.
It's about Microsoft getting a little bit more out of the consumer, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Just anally raping the customers, giving it a whole new meaning to the term customer service.
There's an old Chinese proverb that says, when you feel lube around your butthole, you're about to get fucked.
Yeah. So what about you, Xander?
I think it's really too early to tell. I mean, the system, both systems, the Xbox One and PS4, are about to reach 6 months, so it's almost half a year now, believe it or not. But I don't think anything is going to happen to Xbox until it starts dropping money. I mean, in all honesty, when it starts losing money, then Microsoft might wipe its hands with it. But I mean, I don't know. Money talks.
Money talks, and this is a perfect example of when Microsoft was trying to push the HD DVD, and they required you to buy an extra drive for $150 when the PS3 came with a Blu-ray drive, and HD DVD is failed and gone and fucking wherever now, only for porno or whatever now. This is going to be the exact same thing. They try to milk it for what it's worth. They try to pretty much rob people. They try to, make shit, just bullshit stuff. And because of that, it gets no sales. They lose money, and eventually it's going to go away. If this shit fails, if the Xbox One fails, it's 100% Microsoft and Xbox's fault that it failed and no one else's.
I agree with you. Totally. In the end, we're looking at this in terms of game publishers and game companies. Everything's become more consumerist, in a sense. And we're in an economy at the moment where everything can be buy and sold. If you look at things from more of a socialist type of view, if you look at things as a gamer, as a collector, as a consumer, from your rights as a consumer, if you allow these practices to keep going, you may as well unzip your pants, bend over, and allow the Microsoft execs to come one-on-one and gangbang you. Because that's what you're doing if you allow these practices to continue. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, but Nintendo this, or but Sony that. Fair enough. Sony would follow suit. Probably Nintendo would follow suit if they allow these practices to happen. Stop them for that they allow these things to become commonplace. Otherwise, you are giving away any morality that you have as a gamer to these companies. In the end, Capcom has suffered their bottom line because gamers are unhappy. Konami has suffered because gamers are unhappy. Square Enix have realized that the consumers there, they were right because consumers showed they were unhappy. Don't allow people to get away with stuff like this, and you should be fine, in the end. And as far as the Xbox One goes, the jury's out until we actually see the lifespan of the console and what's going to happen next. We don't know what's going to happen next. As soon as the April updates apply to the American Xbox Ones, we could see the return of DRM, like what I've shown in my video quite recently. We could end up basically seeing none of that happening and everyone being happy. We don't know. And the one thing we need to do as consumers, the one thing we need to do as gamers is understand that we have to make sure that we protect our interests. Because in the end, if we don't, Sony could be adopting Microsoft's practices. Nintendo could be adopting Microsoft's practices. We could end up, as Zach stated, in another gaming crash because we don't trust anybody. You don't want to be in that situation. We want gaming to be sustainable throughout the future so our kids can be happy with our consoles. I know for a fact that 99.9% of my Xbox One stuff, my Xbox 360 stuff, I can actually pass down to my kids, and they'll enjoy that. Same as my PS3, same as my Wii U. You know, it's the same as my 3DS and my handheld gaming consoles. In the end, that's what it's all about. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to finish off the show by going to plugs. So, Xander, what are you doing?
All right. Well, I host another video game podcast called Excess Gaming, and I also have a YouTube channel. You guys can look at my YouTube videos on youtube.com/XanderScullion, and I try to do about a video every week or every 2 weeks, give or take. I should have a new video coming out at the end of this week. And also, you can check out everything I post on the IGG I Got Gameplay Facebook page, and also on the Excess Gaming Podcast group page on Facebook, and you can also check me out on retroandlimb.com.
You can also check him out on nerdgenius.com as well, ladies and gentlemen, as well as Getting Your Nerd On, and a few other shows. We're going to start to post the Radio show, and a lot of different content here from the Retro London Network on Nerd Genius as well. Travis.
Nice. Yes, as Michael was just alluding to, on Thursday nights here on the Retro Unlim Network, which I am very happy to be a proud member of. You can check out the Radio show Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. A lot of crazy, weird, wacky things happen on the show, as well as some sexual things happen as well. Oh yeah, baby. But that is the Radio show. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Also, you can find me on Tuesday nights here on Retro Unlim with the Untitled Movie Show with Mr. Burhan and Miguel Leon, as we talk all things cinema and cinema related. And let's see here also, you can find me on Twitter. TravisCost79 is my Twitter handle. Facebook.com/TravisCost1979. That's how you find me on Facebook. And let's not forget my YouTube channels, YouTube.com/RoseCardReviews and YouTube.com/RoseCardLet'sPlay. Yoshi's Cookie is coming tomorrow. And I want to thank Zach for making that thumbnail for me that I can post that video on YouTube. Thank you so much. Looks awesome, by the way.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
But that's all I got to talk about. Oh, of course, let's not forget, also here on Blog Talk Radio on Wednesday nights, I am also part of the Daceman Show with Chris, the Daceman himself, as well as Gibby and all the other usual suspects, including Mr. Burhan. That's Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central.
And Zach.
Yeah, you guys can catch me and my co-host Kyla on youtube.com/Getting Your Nerd On. We try to put out 3 videos a week. Monday is normally a Modest Magic card segment, or a dumpster diving segment, or we're going to put some reviews up at some point. Wednesday is always a 2 Pro Noobs, which is our Let's Play, and then Friday we have finished with our pickups, so our pickup segment. So now we have something called Complete Gaming, where we talk about collecting tips. We also talk about things we recommend or don't recommend, games we recommend or don't recommend, and then there's a segment where we both spend $20 through the week, and everyone can tell us who they think spent it better. So come check us out on Getting Your Nerd On. Also, we're on Facebook. Just search Getting Your Nerd On, and you can also check out the band that I'm in at killtech9.bandcamp.com.
Okay, ladies, just as I said before, the Getting Your Nerd On, the Excess Gaming podcast, and Excess Gaming, you can check those out on nerdgenius.com. You can also check out the Excess Gaming podcast live here on our lovely Retro London network as well, which is, I've uploaded the last couple of episodes. I think I've got to upload episode 42 as well on there. And also, you can check out all our content on retrolondon.com. I got gameplay, of course, on retrolondon.com, nerdgenius.com, and also fanboysanonymous.com. So you can check us out on there. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/IGotGameplay. You can check me out on youtube.com/TheNerdGenius or dailymotion.com nerdgenius as well. I've got 2 followers on there now. I'm like, woo! Growing on Dailymotion. You can also, I have a film that's actually currently out called The East London Story Slap or Die. That's going to be making its way onto Amazon Video on Demand Digital as well, which is actually part of the Amazon Prime subscription package. So that will be available quite soon. I'm doing a press promo tour of that at the moment live on the internet, so we can actually give you a screening copy. All you got to do is just give me your email address or send me an email to Michael Burhan at nerdgenius, nerdgenius.com, and I will happily provide you with a copy of that. That's available. I'm going to extend that till Monday now, Monday evening, before it goes back to paid subscription only. So make sure that you check that out, guys. And as always, guys, my name is Michael Burhan, for Xander Scully and Travis Goss, Zach Latour, Kyle DePietro, Samantha Jennings, and everybody else who's been on the I Got Gameplay gaming radio show. Let's just say that we've got gameplay. Have you? Ah. I can never find that outro. The board's gotten so big now. But yes, as always, guys, we've got gameplay. Have you?